You're allowed to do whatever you want. All right, so this is the preview to the 2021 UCI Downhill. I'm here with Brady and Jake. We will probably, this is a preview. We'll somehow squeeze a review after the first race coming up, and then so forth and so forth. So we just want to do a preview to like catch up back up. You know, we had COVID last season in 2019, so we'll just kind of go through some things. So just to kind of wrap up on 2019 season, Danny Hart won the final race at Snowshoe, which put Luic Bruni, made him the overall winner, which I don't know, what's that put him as the 4-time winner? Do you guys know?
Overall season, I think that was his first overall.
Yeah, that was his first overall.
3 world champs.
That's right.
So he would constantly win world champs, but
he's got 4 very big trophies.
Yeah. So also on that Danny Hart note, he switched teams going into this season. Am I correct?
Yeah, this year he moved over to Cube, which they let go of Phil. Well, I don't know if they let go of Phil Atwell, but Phil Atwell went back to Propane.
Yep.
So, and then Danny Hart took that seat, which is cool. I mean, that's the first, I would say, top 10 rider, top 5 rider, really, that the Cube's had. So that'll be interesting to switch, see how he handles that bike.
So then we go on the 2020 season. Season started late due to COVID restrictions and didn't really start till October. So with the shortened season, Brady, you wanted to talk about the World Championships with Reese Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to see. We can fix this.
There we go. My fault.
No, you're good. I was trying to make it better for lighting.
I keep hitting Brady. We're in his camper, and I keep hitting the window shade.
But yeah, the World Champs was definitely interesting. I mean, the conditions were like something that I don't think anybody had ever really seen before. And Reese, all week, you're watching all the videos, he was clearly doing things that no one else was able to do. And even today, they did the track walk for that track, and they were still standing at one of the gaps that he was doing. And they were just like, it's pretty impressive when you stand at the feature and you're like, there's only like 4 people in the world that can do this. And like, for him to pioneer those things and be the first one to do it, like clearly he was feeling very confident. So he obviously was the man to beat that weekend.
right.
Who knows what would have happened if it was 72 and sunny. But I think it was pretty awesome to see Reese take that win. And then I forget who was second, but Remy Tyrion I think ended up third in that one.
Who does
team change? He moved the Giant to shear off Commensal.
Yeah, who was Reese on?
That was Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild race. I mean, just watching those guys come down in those conditions, it was
watching like the top 20 dudes in the world not know how to clear a section of trail. Like I remember watching like even Gwyn like going down, like straddling his bike, like holding onto the bar,
right.
just bouncing down through that wooded section. It's just like, what do you even do? I mean, and as soon as your foot comes off your pedal, we've all been in that spot.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're done.
It's done. Especially when when you're talking about times when less than like half seconds times between the thing, small slips, you're done.
So it was a good race.
So Matt Walker, he's on the Madison team. He became the overall winner of last season. How many races were there, including championships?
Including Worlds, there were 5.
Yep.
But there were just 4 that went into the Matt's win.
Yeah.
So just the 2 rounds in Maribor, and then 2 rounds in Lausa, I think it's Lausa.
Yeah.
But
so the first 2 races were on the same track, correct?
Both venues did a mild change like halfway down the track.
Okay.
So Maribor, it was a more distinct change, but like it was always kind of like break the track up into thirds. It was always the second third was different, and then the first and the end were the same on both.
It was weird watching those with no fans.
Yeah.
You're used to hearing the chainsaws, and people banging on rims and just yelling and stuff, and everybody at the end. And it was very bizarre not seeing any fans. You saw a couple of the mechanics running around the track. I can't remember the ones. One of the mechanics had an e-bike. He was running down the long side of it. I think it was in Portugal. But
yeah, that was,
it was
Fabian Morel.
was
screaming at Troy on the e-bike, screaming at him in the pedal section.
But the cool thing is this year they're going to start allowing fans back, I guess, depending on where it's at. So that was very strange not seeing any, or not hearing any cheers and stuff.
Especially in Maribor, like, because we weren't used to it all.
Right.
By the time we got to like Lausa, it was like, I think there were some. It seemed like there were at least some people trackside at like Lausa, but Maribor was like there was nobody there.
Yeah.
It was very weird, and like you see like Loris come down and win, and there's no one there like to cheer, and he's like hands in his head, like freaking out, and then he wins the second race, and same scenario. It was definitely a bizarre thing to watch, but.
Yeah, I think a couple of locals snuck in. I remember them talking about that. But other than that, it was quiet.
Which I like that Maribor track. Of all like the World Cup tracks, there's lots that you're like, I don't know if I really want to ride that. but like Maribor is one of those tracks where you're just like, you watch it and you're just like, I want to go ride that.
Looks like
that
fun.
Looks so fun, flowy, and there's good gaps and fun doubles and good berms and lots of roots and stuff like that. So that's always a track. That
I feel the same way about this coming race, the first one, Leogang.
Legoland.
I don't know. It just looks maybe because I just like watching the Gwyn with no chain.
Yeah, I mean it's got so much history behind it, right?
Yeah.
And Gwyn's kind of dominated that track for a while, or no, wouldn't say dominated, but he's got a couple wins there, and the chainless run. There's only been a couple of times watching downhill that I've yelled at the television like go, and I remember the first one was when Stevie Smith won the world champs or the overall title
in Norway.
He G Atherton came down and Stevie Smith had to have a perfect run win and yelling at the TV, come on, the other one was Gwyn, no chain. It was nuts. That to me Leogang's always going to have that for sure.
But I mean, to wrap on the 2020, it was pretty much Loris won those first two races in Maribor, and then the first round in Lausa, that track looked sweet, super long, which besides Fort William, you don't really get those. I think the times are around like 4 minutes.
Oh, really?
I think it had a lot of pedaling too.
Yeah,
different sections
it had
of
that
it.
sprint section in the middle. 3:55 was Menard's winning time, which that's a long run.
That's a long
trip.
yeah.
So you don't really get that outside of Fort William, and maybe Mont Saint Anne I think gets above like 3.5 minutes. But so I like that track because there were so many different parts to it, and I mean skill sets, and there's just a lot that went into winning on that track. So that was obviously sweet to see Menard win. He was 38 at the time. He was about to turn 39, or he was 39, about to turn 38, or 40. Which is just sweet, especially like as an aging man.
Oh yeah,
not only racing World Cups, but
doing it for us old guys, right?
Yeah.
But
it's still a chance.
It was good to see that, and that race, Gwyn got back in the box. He was fourth that race. So that was always good to see as an American. We always like seeing Gwynny do good, and then we got the double treat with that race because Dakota and then fifth.
Yeah.
So
an awesome run.
That was cool to see. So. That was the third round, and then the next one was the second round in Lausa, which was pretty intense because that weather came down like right at the top 10 dudes.
Right.
Came, and Luic ended up taking it, which snuck in just enough. So Matt Walker stole just enough points, and Loris did not have good 2 races pretty much in Portugal. So it was his to win. He just didn't have it in Portugal. So with Luic winning, I think that was what put Matt Walker in first. And Matt Walker won the overall.
Yeah.
So it was a interesting season. It was still full of story. I mean, even just 4 races, and it was the wild thing. When you look back to like that Portugal races, like dudes were just in pop-up tents. There were no pits.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you had the top racers in the world just like with a van and like this is a standard easy up. Like, so that was kind of cool to see them. I don't want to say humble because they're all pretty much humble. They're just riding bikes.
Right.
But it was interesting to see.
Is there anybody you guys, before we get into like this season, that we'll go 2020 and 2019 that you thought would be top 5 that kind of never really peaked or never really got there?
I mean, Gwyn was healthy in 2020, so I expected more. I expected him to do better in 2020.
Bring that mic a little closer. You can turn it if you want. There you go.
Yeah, Gwyn was healthy in 2020, so I thought he would do a little bit better. I don't want to say he's not a good. He rides great in wet weather. That Mont Saint Anne run is one of the best runs in the history of World Cup in the rain. So I don't think it was a wet weather thing by any means. But those first 2 rounds with the world champs, and then the first round of Maribor, it rained. I don't know, but then he came back and he finished. He did a couple of good finishes, but I thought he was going to be more of a contender. Other than that, I mean, last year was pretty much the main characters. I feel like I expected some splashes from Charlie Harrison and Dakota, and we kind of got both of those. Yeah, and Luca. I feel like he's just had a couple of strange years where
he qualifies great, and then it just race day, he'll wreck or something.
Something happens.
Yeah. It'll be interesting this year with just it being him and Greg on Syndicate.
Yeah.
And seeing what kind of feedback and how the dynamic changes, but no, I wouldn't say that there were any major what happened scenarios.
True. Yeah, it's kind of the normal suspects up top. Yeah. And it's strange, 4 races, things can happen
in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
4 races in 6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Or no, I think it was actually 4 weeks. They had 2 weeks off, then back to backers, 2 weeks off, back to back. So yeah, crazy.
So let's go into 2021 with team riders on new teams. And actually, after I saw this, we'll get to it. Lloyd Greenland was actually on. He was already on the Mondraker, but he didn't ride last year because he broke his thumb or he broke something in his hand. So that's a misprint. But Danny Hart, like we already mentioned, switched to the Cube team. So what do you think about that? Does he do better? Have the same result? We were talking on our way here is how much is rider, how much is bike percentage?
I mean, so I've never ridden a Cube bike of any kind. They've never had a top echelon rider in any discipline, really. Like racing, I mean, they've had famous athletes.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of decent EWS guys.
Yeah,
but
I forget who the EWS team was.
The one guy who's on the Red Bull show, he was on Cube for a little bit.
The guy from Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
But it's a super popular bike in Europe, right? You don't really see him around here at all.
No, you definitely don't see him around here. I mean, I have watched, obviously everybody watches reviews of different stuff, and I've seen a lot of reviews of that bike, the downhill bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the 211 or something, but one of the things that is very common is it's a very stiff, for a normal person, it's a hard bike to ride. For a World Cup rider, who knows? It's not the same. I mean, you did see Phil Atwell go from churning out a couple of top 10s, I think, on the propane, and definitely every weekend top 15, top 20 rider to struggling on that bike. Obviously, he's not Danny Hart. Danny Hart's won world champs twice and has won multiple World Cups, so it's not the total same echelon of rider. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I know they just did the not a race thing and Schleiming, and he seemed like he was hauling. I think he put down some good times on it. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, some of those guys could go out there on a Strider and, put up top 10, top 20.
But the thing is, the other guys aren't on Striders.
Right.
Yeah. The other guys are on stuff that they're comfortable on, that they feel fast on, that they've dialed in. So it's if you're not 100% in sync with your equipment, your competition is.
Yep.
So, to us, it's they're going to kill it on any of them. But yeah, they're going to kill it. But killing it doesn't mean top 5, top 10.
Right.
So
yeah, when it's that close in times and stuff. Yeah.
What do you think some of the change of teams is? Just money talks, or just I never got comfortable on this particular bike?
I mean,
probably a little bit both.
I would say it's way more about. I don't even want to say money as much as the total package of do I fit in this scenario?
Right.
Financially, does it work for me? where is the team located at? What is the primary language? Like, I know that there's been conversations about, like, the Common Salt Muck-Off team for the longest time. Like, all French riders, all French management, like, everything. It's always been very hard for outside riders to come in and perform on that team.
Right.
Because they don't speak French. So Cube's a German brand. Back to Danny. Like, German tendency, a lot more English speaking. So I think that, like, that wouldn't be as much of a thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think it comes more down to, like, do I have my mechanic that I like? Do I like the setup? And, like, the parts make a big difference, but at the end of the day, most of the parts are all, like, really good.
Yeah.
And they could all be like, some parts are weird. And it's like, well, Luic Bruni's winning on Magura and Olin's.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't need to be a Fox Shimano SRAM
Yeah.
guy, like, to win World Cup. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully it's money.
Yeah.
I honestly, I hope it's money. Like, I hope that they're all leaving to go get paid because
Yeah.
they're doing insane shit and they're putting their lives on the line. So I hope that it's money.
The next one is Remy. He was on the team. How do you say it? Kamsal?
Comments
Yeah, he was on there for like 8 years,
Yeah,
and now he's on Giant. That's a big change.
yeah, that's a huge change. You go
Yeah.
from a World Cup winning machine
Yeah.
of the Commensal Supreme to a bike that hasn't seen a podium, and I mean, I don't even know how long.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
like Danny Hart won Worlds on it in 2011 or something like that.
I mean, you don't hear about it as much.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know the last time that bike got a podium on the downhill side. I'm sure.
I'll look into that. See
Yeah.
what I can find.
I'm sure that it has. I forget when Danny left Giant, but yeah. So I mean, if he was with Giant when he was in Lenzerheiden, like that would have maybe been the last one when he won Worlds there. I think that was like 2017 or something. But yeah, we'll see. But I mean, he's a hell of a rider.
Yeah.
So, and he's like such a bruiser too, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, he's just such a big, strong, physical person that, like,
He's going to muscle the bike around regardless.
He's gonna be able to handle.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
The steeper the tracks, the more fun it is to watch Remy,
yeah.
and the wetter it is.
So Laurie Greenland, like I said, he was already on Mondraker. We didn't ride last year. So I don't remember what team he was on before that, but I think that's a huge upgrade. He seems super, super happy about it.
I mean, he was podiumed on that bike in 2019. I mean, he podiumed in Leogang on that bike, I believe, and maybe a couple other times. Maybe a couple other
Leogang,
runs.
that's the one where he he wrecked and the bike jumped and went over the fence. Remember that? And it went.
No.
I'll have to show you guys. He went down, but the bike was still going, and it hit something, and it shot over the fence, and he was just kind of like, "What? How did I get that?" So yeah.
But no, I mean, I think it's a matter of time before he's obviously a top 10 dude every weekend. I think it's a matter of time before he's a top 5 dude every weekend.
Absolutely.
He's just, I mean, he got his Red Bull helmet.
Yeah.
So that gives you like 2 seconds on every track.
Gives you wings, right?
Yeah, I mean, that helps. But yeah, he's just always, lately he's always been a pretty chill dude.
Yeah, we met him at Snowshoe. Super nice guy.
Yeah, you just always kind of get the feeling that he's got a good head on his shoulders and doesn't take it too serious. I mean, they all take it serious, pays the bills, but
Yeah.
I do think he's gonna have a great season this year.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
a guy that's not too far from us, Dakota Norton. He's on the YT mob. He switched from Da Vinci. So big upgrade.
I mean, I don't know.
So
It's
YT
tough.
didn't race last year though. Did they not have a team?
I mean, they
went to a lot of younger guys.
They have Suarez, but he was hurt last year. So I don't think he did any.
No, he ran all
he?
4 races. Yeah,
he did?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
But he was on
yeah,
Commensal, I thought.
Last year was his first year on Commensal.
I don't know, but Angel was very impressive last year. Yeah, I think he finished
Yeah, he finished pretty good.
like top 6 or 7 overall.
I need to look that up.
While you're
No, I take that back. He was on YT, so they did run YT.
He was their marquee
Yeah,
athlete.
I think it might have been
was him.
2019. They didn't run a full team. They kind of pulled out after Gwyn and Nico
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was him and then Oisin Callahan, their junior,
Yeah.
who won Worlds, and I think won a couple of the World Cups. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because I don't know who else is on that team with him this year.
I'm not sure.
Is there another elite
think
on
so.
that team?
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah. It seems like a great fit, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good bike, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it won World Cup overall 2 years in a row. So, I mean, the bike's not holding anybody back.
Yeah, I don't think when Gwen and Nico, they never complained about the bike. It was more like the whole program, in a sense.
Yeah, and I don't even think there were any complaints.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean,
Right.
I mean, we don't need to get into it, but from everything that I've heard about it, was Gwyn thought he was going to re-sign with them.
Yeah.
And they finished world champs in Lenzerheiden, and he was like, they were going to go do the paperwork, and then they were like, yeah, sorry, we're not going to have a World Cup team next year.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think there was any issues. Like, he wanted to continue on with YT. I mean, he, like, helped develop that bike. I mean, he was, yeah, that was crazy.
So Vergier now on Trek, and actually he says he loves it, loves the team because as you were talking about, you know, are they going for money or are they going for what are they going for? And he said it's a bunch of young guys. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, Greg's kind of an old dude, like, and then but Luke is kind of his age, but he said, yeah, Trek's a lot younger team or people around me, and I really feel like it's family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the syndicate always seemed like
It's a family,
Yeah.
like
Right?
literally, like Caddy
The-
Sessler is like a mom
Yeah.
on your World Cup track. Like,
Yeah.
like I couldn't think of a more family team than the syndicate. So I don't know.
I guess
I think Loris is gonna win World Cups this year. I don't like Loris is one of those guys that I don't think it matters what bike he's on. Like, the dude is just ridiculous,
Yeah.
and he's just so confident right now. But I do think that he that had to be money, and Trek has to be throwing so much money
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Like Volley Hall, Loris, Charlie Harrison,
Oh.
Reese Wilson,
Kate Edwards.
Kate
I mean,
Edwards.
it's stacked.
Like the
Absolutely
roster's
stacked.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Ethan Chandro too. Like, which granted that's not like Trek Factory Racing. That's like the Trek SRAM TLD team or whatever it is. Him and Volley Hall, but I mean they threw some coin at it.
Absolutely, they did.
Them and Canyon seem to have the biggest budgets in all the World Cup racing.
Well, when's the last time they actually won? It was with G. Was G the last time Trek took the win with
I
Trek?
don't know. Did G ever win on a Trek?
No, I don't think he
I
did.
think Gwen was
I
probably
think Gwen,
maybe Gwen.
Gwen before he moved on.
Yeah, you might be right.
2012 for 13 before he moved to Specialized.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably the last time they won. I mean, they had some podiums. Like Greg Williamson had some podiums when he was a Trek, and
But G was competing
Nico
at that time.
had a couple podiums. Nico had a chainless podium.
Yeah, I
actually.
did. He was the original chainless
Yeah.
podium.
Charlie had a podium in Snowshoe.
Yeah, he finished 2019
Yeah, yeah.
strong. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
was like third.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was awesome.
So yeah, the Trek team. I don't know. I mean, like I said, Loris is Loris, and he's gonna win World Cups, and he's the not a race in Schwab. I mean, watching the videos, he was just doing things in sections that nobody else was doing.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't post the fastest time of the weekend, but I don't think he went out to post the fastest time of the weekend. Like, I think he went out to just work on getting comfortable in that
Yeah.
bike. But they did like interview him, and they were like, "How is it? How do you like the bike?" And he was, you could definitely tell that he was like, "It's a very different bike. It's good." It's like, but it's a very, very different bike than what he was used to. So
Yeah, and he's one where you've watched his progression since he came to Syndicate. You know, you knew it was there. He was right on the verge of it. He'd crash out or he'd get a flat or something. You knew he was just getting faster and faster and faster. And last year he just proved, getting podiums, top spot. He's going to be strong for a while.
Yeah.
He's finally put it together.
finally put it together. Absolutely.
You
So-
should. I don't know. It's hard to find, but there's a video. It was on Red Bull like a long time ago. Him and Luic are teammates way back in the day, like 14 or something, and they were on some small team and
Probably Lapierre.
might be they're blue more,
Yeah.
and they were like the coach was like, "All right, we got a race tomorrow," and they're like, "We're going out," and they were just like, "We're young guys, we're going out and partying." It was so funny to watch them.
Yeah, they're an interesting dynamic for sure. Those two.
So we got some upcoming injuries. Bruni fractured heel bone, but he seems like he's going to try to fight through it this weekend. And then you guys want to discuss on that? What do you think?
I mean, looking at the highlights and hearing him talk, like, I'm not too. I think if he performs well or if he performs poorly, I don't think it's because of his heel.
Yeah.
I think it's more it would be like the mental effects of the heel.
Yeah, right.
But
I mean, he's posting on social media. He's running good on it, or he could feel it, but he still can race.
and it's like,
So-
I mean, Leogang isn't a track full of like hard hits and compressions.
Yeah.
Like, it's wide open, it's super fast. Like, the top section has like some compressions, and then there's like the chunky wood spot, and then there's the little tiered thing kind of at the end. But it's not like Fort William where you're just like constantly just like
Yeah.
heels down, just smashing into hard rocks and stuff. So I think it's a good track if you are injured, that it's not going to be too bothersome. So
I think it's going to take a big injury to keep him off the track. It's
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, what was
He's
it?
going to go for points regardless.
What was the track 19 where he like was just going over and he just like lost it and he was like beat up, but he's still, I don't remember, it was like in practice or something, and he just went over like a little like, I don't know if it was a step up, and he was just like flying through the air, and I think he won that race.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. And I don't
It
know
was
why.
a huge get off. I mean,
Yeah,
huge.
I don't know. I cannot remember what that was, but I know exactly like what you're talking about. Yeah.
So Amari Piron, I'm terrible with these names, but he had a accident back in August, broken collarbone, dislocated finger, and L2 L3 spine fracture. Seems to be all right now. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to come out and say anything until the race, you know.
Yeah, I mean, everything you've seen training wise, he looks
Yeah.
pretty healthy.
Yeah.
So
That one might be one of those where it's more mental at this
Yeah.
point. You know, he's had a lot of time to heal up. So if he can still fully send it without having that injury in the back of his head, which you know he can,
that's
Dude's
the one
nuts,
benefit of
you know what I
COVID,
mean?
is everybody's got longer
Right?
times to recover. Like, it's crazy. But
Look,
yeah,
just a little side note of Piron. We were in Snowshoe. The dude, if you go to Snowshoe this year for, like you already said, for World Cup, you got to find him after the race, like that Saturday night. No, I know, whatever. But he was drinking moonshine. This dude was getting ripped.
he had his Ricky Bobby suit on.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
those
Yeah.
interviews were
And he had the
hilarious.
mustache. He's fun for
Like,
sure.
That made me
Yeah.
love the guy even more.
It was
And
great.
he just
Yeah.
rides like nobody else. His style, nobody else rides like
Yeah.
him. Like, you want to say that he muscles the bike, but he doesn't like muscle the bike. Like, he like muscles the earth beneath
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Like, he just so strong and just holds his position so well on the bike. It's just when he is pinning it, there's just like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. He's another one though. Like I like watching him.